Howdy! All y'all want to learn how to play the great nation of Texas? Well, you've come to the right place. I saw more requests for Texas than you can shake a stick at. And if you don't want to play as Texas, well then bless your heart. I'm terrible at southern accents. Alright, this guide is about how to form Texas, as Texas got some new national ideas in the 1.28 patch. Forming Texas is easy, but that information isn't readily available yet, as the wiki hasn't been updated, so I thought I would do a quick guide on how to do it. To form Texas, you need these 4 provinces, you cannot be a subject nation, and you need level 10 admin tech. You also cannot form Texas with natives because it needs to be a former colonial nation. The easiest way to do this is to start as a colonizer, then colonize these provinces and release the colonial subject and play as them. And if you're playing a pure colonization game, Portugal is the way to go. They get colonial range as their first national idea. They are also fairly isolated, so if you want, you can just focus on colonizing and don't worry about Europe. And they also get the age perk of plus 50 global settler increase, which is huge. So I would advise that you start as Portugal for the fastest way to form Texas. Now you can play as Portugal however you want. You can play an actual game and attack Morocco and take land in the Maghreb region, but then you will have to core it or give it to a vassal. Either way, it will need some admin or diplo points, which will slow down your tech and ideas a little bit. If you are in no rush, you can play a normal game as Portugal and form Texas eventually. In my game, I was in a hurry, so I decided to go full colonization, while not worrying about what was going on in Europe or Maghreb. I was basically playing at speed 5 all the time. I first rushed level 5 admin tech, then took exploration ideas, took the first 3 of those, then diplotech for the extra colonial range. After that, level 7 admin tech and expansion ideas for the extra colonist. For colonization, I first colonized Cape Verde, then couple of provinces in Caribbeans while waiting for the colonial range. Then I started colonizing in colonial Mexico for the province of Atacama, which is one of the provinces you need to form Texas, and eventually colonize the provinces around it. You can do it fairly fast, just make sure you explore the right regions in time so you can colonize them. One of the new features introduced in the Golden Century DLC was flagships, and Portugal gets some special perks for their flagship. One of them is 100% exploration range, which is insane. You can actually explore almost the whole world really early. And while we are on the topic, another new feature in Golden Century is minority expulsion, where you can expel any non-accepted culture and religion from a province to the New World. It costs some diplo points, but it's pretty handy. Since I didn't expand in the Maghreb, I only had one province with minority, Ceuta, that we start with, but you might get more if you decide to play properly. In any case, make sure you don't send minorities to the colonial Mexico region, as you don't want your newly formed Texas nation to have rebel issues. Once you have colonial Mexico, or whatever you decide to call it, you can release them and play as them. However, if you do this very early, it's very likely you won't be at admin tech 10. So now you're stuck in a 5-province nation with nothing much to do, which sounds kind of boring. So what I suggest is that you keep colonizing as Portugal until your colonial subject hits level 10 admin tech. You can also help your future Texas country a little bit. Keep colonizing the area, as that will mean more provinces for you in future, which means a stronger start as Texas. I kept colonizing to make sure I can get borders with other natives, so when playing as Texas I could expand quickly. Just remember that colonizing slows down in Age of Reformation when you lose the plus 50 global settler modifier. So it's better to abandon Portugal shortly after Age of Reformation hits. I still managed to get my colony to 15 provinces bordering a lot of natives. Couple of other things you can do to help your future self is to try to sell some of your ships to your colonial nation for 0 ducats. Usually they will only buy the light ships. Also spend all your monarch points in developing their provinces. I managed to get the future Texan capital to 51 development. Make sure you take as many monarch points as you can from the estates, and they can go to 100% influence. It doesn't matter because you're going to abandon Portugal pretty soon. And talking of Portugal, the way I played Portugal here was rather poorly. I mean, by the time I left them, they had 5,600 ducats in loans and 53% inflation. so I'm pretty sure they would declare bankruptcy immediately after. But they have Castile as an ally, so they should survive. Either way, we don't care about that. You can be nice to Portugal if you want, I just wanted to play as Texas. So once we release the colonial nation, we opt to play as them. Now that we are playing as the colonial nation, we get a decision to form Texas. Or even Mexico apparently. And just like that, we are playing as the Grand Republic of Texas. We have some ideas taken already, which isn't bad, especially since we will need the colonists. We are also making decent money, thanks to the 51 Dev Capital Province. Also, Texas has a lot of courts in the area, where we can now freely colonize. And if you plan it right, you will be bordering a few natives, where you can expand really fast, as you will have a significant tech advantage. In my game, from here I could take on the northeastern natives, all of Mexico, and the Pueblo and Navajo tribes as well. I would advise that you start improving relations with other potential colonizers though, just to be on the safe side when they eventually land in America. You might also want to expand fast if you want to take them on. And after that, you can just paint the whole Americas with Texan colors. I was a little disappointed that there isn't an achievement related to Texas, by the way. So with that strategy, you can play for 50 or 60 years and form a solid looking Texas. You can obviously form it much quicker, but then you'll have a fairly weak start. Now, if you don't want to play all these years as Portugal to form Texas, there is another way. You can choose a different start date, such as the 1508 start, and play as Spain. Spain here has already colonized Caribbeans, so now you can explore the colonial Mexico area and start colonizing there. It will be a little easier to do it this way. You will just start playing as Texas a bit later in game, which isn't a big deal. And there you have it. Now you know how to form Texas, and after that, you really don't need a strategy. You are unmatched in this part of the world, and taking on the native tribes will be easy. I hope you enjoy your Texan run. Let us know in comments how much were you able to expand with Texas. They have some neat looking ideas which seem fun. You were watching a Radio Res guide. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.